Hi, everybody. How is everybody doing? It is a new week, and I'm grateful to be here. My name is Njogu. I am a growth and mindset coach. My main goal is to remind us all to embrace our uniqueness, to become more self-aware through mindset shift. And my goal is to create one video at a time with the content that speaks volume to the power of positive mindset shifts. So if you're looking to transform your mindset, if you're looking to becoming better than the person you were yesterday or a minute ago, then you are in the right place. A month ago, I introduced the theme of the month, of the videos we're going to be focusing on, which is the topic of we find ourselves asking this question a lot. We find ourselves mentioning it either consciously or subconsciously. I'm talking about stress management. So today we are covering technique number 3, which is an NLP technique called anchoring. If you missed my previous videos, I would highly recommend that you go back and watch technique number 1, which was reframing, and technique number 2, which was on visualization. And so I will not go into details about them. I'll just put a link in the bio description for you to go back and watch so that at least you can have different techniques. Because when I'm working with these techniques, I'm not thinking about each technique is unique on its own. So technique number 1 on reframing might not work on person A, but it might work on person B. Technique number 2 on visualization might not work on person B, but might work on person A. Technique number 3, which is what we're going to be discussing today, anchoring, might not work on person A and B, but it might work on person C or D. So, all right, so that out of the box, we'll jump into anchoring. What is anchoring? So the word anchoring can have a variety of meaning depending on the context it's being used. If you go to the ship, there's an anchor. But when you come to NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, an anchor refers to an external stimulus that triggers a specific internal experience. So an anchor is created by understanding a trigger and strengthen it in order to use it for your advantage so that you can evoke the corresponding response over and over again. When you think about the ship, when you put the anchor in the middle of the ocean, the ship stays there, it stays constant, no matter how strong the turbulences are. So in NLP, when we use an anchor, we use something that is going to give us a certain state that you're looking for, which you're going to understand as I move on in this video. So our brains automatically create anchors in different ways. So my anchor might be different to your anchor because we all have different experiences. And it could be by what we see, what we hear, what we taste, and how our body is breathing, just by the normal mode of breathing. Like there's the fast breathing, there's the slow breathing. So all these can be instances that automatically how the brain forms an anchor. And a good example is, let's say, for example, you're listening to music and then you receive, let's say, bad news in the death of a loved one. What happens is whenever you hear that music, you feel like you want to cry because your mind automatically anchored your emotions to that song. So you've had that when you're in a group of people or when you're with a friend and then something comes up, you're like, oh my God, that song reminds me of so-and-so, or that car reminds me of so-and-so. So this is a good example of how your mind automatically anchored a specific event to associate it with certain types of feelings. I might maybe be eating pizza and then I received an email that I got a job. Let's say a pizza, and then I got an email. I was like, oh my God, I got a job. So whenever I see pizza or whenever I start feeling, whenever I start tasting pizza, the feeling of happiness starts coming to me because you automatically, or your mind automatically anchored that emotion of feeling happy to the pizza state. So now if you think about the things that make you happy or sad, you will realize that it's something that happened that made you anchor your emotions to that thing. So our mind is automatically working. So the good news is, apart from the mind automatically doing that, you can counter those emotions by intentionally doing something else. So what I want you to do is to take a few minutes and be alone in a day. You can choose maybe to go to your room, lock yourself there so that you can have the serene environment, you can have the peace of mind, no distractions and anything of the sort. So the step 1 is to recall a series of happy moments or memories where you are extremely happy. It could be your happiest moment is when you're a child, maybe daddy was coming home, you're running towards daddy. You still remember that moment like it was yesterday. You were extremely, extremely happy. So once you have that memory, once you have identified that time when you are extremely happy, I want you to imagine how it felt and what you're hearing at that time, what you're seeing. If your happy moment is when daddy was coming home from work and then you're like running out of the door. So you're seeing yourself running, you're hearing yourself, you're hearing laughter, you're hearing a lot of things that are happening. The things that you're seeing there, you can see daddy smiling back at you. So I want you to imagine how it felt at that time. And then number 3, when you're in that state, experiencing these emotions, when you are at that peak level, when you're all happy, your emotions are just over the roof, I want you to make a hand gesture, something that you normally wouldn't do. So for some people, they do this because you don't often do this. Some people, they do this. Like you can do anything with your hands, something simple. Someone can be doing, something like this, something that you don't normally do, like it's something out of the ordinary. And then now, once you've done that, you are anchoring that gesture. You have to repeat it repeatedly so that your brain anchors that happy moment or those emotions that you're getting to that particular time. So if you do like this and you remember that time when you were extremely happy as a child, running towards daddy has come home from work. So whenever you do this, your mind automatically picks, this is a happy moment. So you are anchoring that emotion. It's the emotion that you're after. So you're anchoring the emotion itself. So the next time, let's say, for example, you're feeling stressed, I want you to repeat the anchor. For example, let's say I'm about to do a presentation and I'm feeling stressed over it. So instead of me starting to overthink, starting to have all these thinking patterns going in my head, I will automatically do this. And then my mind automatically has logged that this is a happy moment. This is a happy emotion. So instead of me starting to get worried, I start feeling feelings of happiness. And I want you to repeat that anchor at least every now and then, so that your mind can immediately lock it. It can release the endorphins associated with the memories you anchored and to give you a feeling of relaxation. So instead of me going to that meeting, feeling all anxious, feeling all worried and all that, the moment I did this, I calmed down, I became relaxed because my endorphins of happiness have been released. My memories have been anchored back. So I am not having that present moment. It has helped me to relax. So when you try these steps, you recall a happy moment, which is number 1. Number 2, you have to imagine how it felt at that time. I want you to remember what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're tasting at that time. Be present in that moment. And then number 3, when you're experiencing this, form your anchor. It could be anything, but something unusual that you don't usually do. You can do a hug, you can hug yourself, you can tap yourself, anything that is going to be specific to you, specific to that that moment, and then repeat that gesture until it becomes a habit. Remember that when you start, it's going to feel weird. Anything that you start, anything new always feels like it's weird. But the more you practice, the more you continue doing this, it becomes part of you. And I can say for a fact that anchors, they normally work. So that brings me to the end of my video today. Let me know your thoughts with a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and hit the subscribe button if you're new to this channel to always receive new content notifications. Remember that an anchor can be a small gesture, but what it does is something very big. When you think about an anchor, remember the ship in the water, it's very big, but the anchor is something small, but it's able to hold it no matter how hard the turbulences are. So, and also the reason why we form anchors is we avoid the negative thoughts because they make us unresourceful and consume a lot of time that we can help develop solutions. So an anchor, it helps to save you time. It helps you to move from that unresourceful state to the resourceful state. It makes you become more productive. Instead of being stressed, it makes you think of what you can do better in that situation. So that brings me to the end of my video today. I will see you next week as we tackle technique number 4 on how to manage stress in our everyday lives. Wishing you all a productive week ahead. Bye-bye.